The afternoon sun beat down on the cracked pavement outside Weldon Auto Components, but it couldn't burn away the cruelty that had stained the ground that day. A small doll lay broken in the dust, its arm twisted off, its painted smile smeared with dirt. Beside it, a young woman struggled to stand, blood trickling from her lip, her trembling hand clutching her little girl's shoulder. 6-year-old Hazel held that shattered doll to her chest as if she could protect it, her wide eyes staring toward the road where laughter faded into the distance, laughter that belonged to the men who had just hurt her mother. They thought no one saw. They thought no one would care, but fate had a way of writing justice in unexpected ink. Moments later, the air began to tremble, not with fear, but with the deep, thunderous growl of engines. 5 bikes rolled into view, sunlight glinting off chrome and steel. Their black vests bore a red-winged skull and a name the world feared, Hell's Angels. Many, they were outlaws. But that day, they were something else, something more, because when one of them cut his engine and saw a bruised mother and her broken child, the world shifted. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. Sometimes kindness doesn't come in prayers or gentle words, it roars in like thunder and leaves silence behind, and what happened next outside that old factory would become the story that changed everything. The sun hung low, burning pale gold against the metal walls of Weldon Auto Components. Inside, the machines hummed with endless monotony, stamping, welding, cutting, each sound another reminder of lives spent working for too little, dreaming for too long. Clara Evans was one of those workers. A young widow of 28, she carried her world in her tired eyes and her daughter's laughter. Every morning before dawn, she tied Hazel's yellow ribbons, kissed her forehead, and whispered, "Someday things will get better." Hazel always believed her. Because when you're 6, your mother's words are gospel, but on that Thursday afternoon, belief cracked. Clara had just learned that the factory manager had been quietly cutting her pay for months. When she confronted him, he smirked, surrounded by 2 men from the floor crew, men who thought her desperation made her weak. When she raised her voice, they laughed. When she begged, one of them shoved her so hard her head hit the wall, and when Hazel came running in, clutching her doll and shouting, "Stop hurting my mommy," one of them ripped the doll from her hands, tore off its arm, and threw it onto the dirt outside. Then they walked away laughing, leaving Clara bleeding and Hazel sobbing beside the broken toy. Clara tried to be strong. She brushed the dust off her daughter's face, wiped the blood from her lip, and whispered, "It's okay, baby. Mommy's fine." But Hazel just stared at her, eyes wide and full of something children shouldn't understand, helplessness. Then came the sound. At first, it was distant, like thunder rolling over dry earth. Then louder. Deeper. Until even the ground seemed to tremble beneath their feet. 5 motorcycles came into view, their engines growling low as beasts. Chrome gleamed. Black leather glinted with sunlight. On each back, a red-winged skull. Hell's Angels. The leader was older, maybe in his 40s, his beard streaked with gray, tattoos curling down his arms like maps of old scars. His vest read RL Chills. When he saw Clara and Hazel, he killed the engine and dismounted. The others followed, engines idling low. He didn't ask what happened. He didn't need to. He knelt down in front of Hazel, his voice low but steady. "Who did this, sweetheart?" Hazel's chin trembled. She didn't speak, just raised one tiny finger and pointed toward the factory gates. The leader looked back. The men behind him exchanged silent glances, understanding without words. R.L. stood. His boots hit the ground like a promise. He nodded once. The bikers turned as one and walked toward the factory. "Wait!" Clara cried, stumbling forward. "Please, don't get involved." But it was too late. The engines roared back to life, and they rolled toward the gates like a storm breaking over the horizon. Inside the factory yard, the laughter died the moment those engines cut off. Workers froze. The 3 men, the manager and his thugs, stiffened as the riders surrounded them. R.L. stepped forward, his gaze steady. The factory manager tried to puff up his chest, hiding the flicker of fear behind arrogance. "You've got no business here," he sneered. R.L. Didn't answer. He simply took one step closer. The air thickened. No one knows what words were said next. Some say the shouting lasted minutes. Others say it ended in seconds. But everyone agreed on one thing: when the engine started again, the factory yard was silent. Completely silent. When the bikers rolled back out, Clara was still standing by the roadside, Hazel pressed against her leg. The leader stopped beside them, shutting off his bike once more. He reached into his vest pocket and pulled out something, a doll. New, clean, wrapped in soft blue fabric. He handed it to Hazel, her lips parted, but no sound came. Tears welled in her eyes as she took it gently, like holding something sacred. Then he reached into his wallet and pulled out a thick envelope. He placed it in Clara's hand. She shook her head instantly. No. I can't. But he just shook his head back once, firm and silent. His eyes said everything. You've been through enough. Clara swallowed hard. I don't even know your name, she whispered. He gave a faint smile, the kind that hides pain behind kindness. Doesn't matter, he said quietly. Just get her something sweet tonight. Then he turned, started his bike, and with a low rumble that felt like thunder fading into the distance, the 5 riders disappeared down the sunlit road. That night, for the first time in years, Clara cooked a warm dinner without counting coins. Hazel laughed again, twirling with her new doll under the soft glow of their kitchen light. The next morning, Weldon Auto Components didn't open. The gates were locked, the office dark. Word spread fast: the manager had resigned overnight, his 2 enforcers gone without a trace. No one asked why. Everyone already knew. Weeks later, Clara found a new job, better pay, safer work. She never saw those bikers again. But every evening, when Hazel brushed her doll's blue dress and set it beside her pillow, she'd whisper, "Thank you, Mr. Biker." And Clara would smile, not with sadness this time, but with gratitude. Because sometimes, angels don't fall from heaven. They ride out of the sun on roaring engines, wearing leather and carrying justice in their hearts. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Echo Tales. Every view, every comment keeps real stories like this alive. Because kindness isn't about who you are, it's about what you choose to do when no one else will. Tell us in the comments, would you have done what the bikers did? Sometimes, heroes don't wear capes, they wear leather, and when the world turns away, they ride toward the storm.